We have a fun episode today, and welcome back to the Girlfriend Doctor Show. This is Dr. Anna Cabeca, and I'm here today with one of my daughters, Amira, and we're going to be talking about dating since we're in the middle of February, in February at this time, and have gone through Valentine's Day, and love, dating, intimacy are certainly hot topics. We thought actually, Amira thought this would be a great discussion for us to have.
Dun,
I
dun.
wanted to give you an update. I'm in now towards the end of my second month of being dry, so without alcohol, without my, glass of wine that I love or periodic clean tequila that I love. And I've sharing some episodes on this topic, including an episode with lovely Olivia Ferrelli from Ireland, who's known as the gray area drinker, and we talked about strategies on staying dry and the reasons for it, as well as I've been continuing to dig into the research on perimenopause and estrogen issues as high estrogen and binge drinking alcohol and some reasons why that is and that connection. It's not the other way around. We thought, okay, increasing alcohol increases issues with estrogen dominance, but maybe it's the other way around, that estrogen dominance increasing an alcohol intake. So, continuing to work on evolving and preparing my body for explant surgery and digging more into the reasons and breast implant illness issues and concerns, as well as just the cosmetic issues. And some of the comments that I've gotten in are topics about, I'm worried about how my partner will feel. He loves my breast, and this was a joint decision, and getting them removed is concerning. But as I've talked to women who have had explant surgery, their partners have been very, very supportive. So it is certainly a discussion that you want to have, but your health comes first. For whatever those considerations are, for me, it was like, okay, I'm going into my 60s. I'm 59 this year and going into my 60s. And then, like how long do I keep with breast implants when they no longer serve me in reality? And the reasons that I got them in the first place no longer sit well with me. And I want to just be authentically in my own skin as much as possible. So those are a couple episodes of the Girlfriend Doctor Show that you definitely want to listen to. So the one with Olivia Ferrelli on gray area drinking, and the one with Candice Barley on breast implant illness. So the best thing I can do is help you be as informed to make your own decisions for yourself. So switching topics right now, going
Bringing it.
into, well, not actually shifting topics, but thinking about, okay, I'm single in my 50s now, and the concept of, okay, removing breast implants, what does that mean for dating? And I actually haven't given that much thought. Maybe I should, but
No,
what's
it
your
does.
thought about it?
No, it doesn't. That doesn't mean anything for, I know that's definitely something, like your personal experience, and it's a different change of your body, and how you feel as well going into that. But I don't think that should be any changed
Any
in
consideration, right?
any consideration. No,
Yeah.
because I mean, as I was just admiring your photo shoot that you just did, you are stunning, and I'm blessed that you are my mother for knowing that you look so good
You
right
said,
now.
no, to quote you exactly, you said, Mom, it's good to see you as old as you are looking this good.
As
That
you,
gives me hope.
Mhm. It gives
Right?
me hope. Absolutely. I know. And even like a few friends are like, oh, wow, that's your mom? Okay. I know you're also going to be attractive when you get older too. And I'm like, hey, she's still young. Okay. I'm getting there. As long as I am improving with my beauty, like well, you've always been stunning. But anyways, but I think that's something that I've noticed that a lot of people, it's a transformation, whether within boob jobs, nose jobs, losing weight, you're changing yourself. Whereas what's this one artist that says like you can change your you can change yourself, but as long as you feel like your most confident self, that is like the most important thing.
Right. Confidence is sexy.
I know I have this conversation with, I'm kind of rambling here, but I have this conversation with my friends all the time where sometimes it's like you're not feeling your sexiest self and you're not feeling your confident self. And then you can go into a store and no one's going to look at you. But the moment you walk into a store, just grocery shopping, anything, and I'm feeling confident, people are looking at you. People are wanting to just, they're like, you have great energy because you get attracted to people's energy.
That's a good reminder. There's that show with Amy
It's a,
Schumer
yeah,
and
movie.
the movie that says it's called titled I Feel Pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to watch that. I mean, it's just a really good example of what we're talking about today. The confidence that we
Exactly.
walk into a room with, that we feel about our own body. That is really what sets the
Mm-hmm.
stage for relationships, conversations, and connection.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
I know. And what kind of guided me to this topic that I wanted to have with my mom and bring to you all today? I know
against my
I
recommendations.
I was like, her silence is the answer. Um, but is basically I went on my first date of 2025, and that was like this past Friday. And I know she also went on a date and we were just kind of talking about that. And I thought that was kind of an important conversation. And especially with all these changes that are happening and our goals for the year and what we're wanting to accomplish as a family, as a business. And then there's also that of the personal relationships, of intimate relationships and what that looks like. And then the difference of dating in her at her age and versus dating at my age, and especially dating in this dating app world right now is so crazy and hard. And
So, how was your date, Amira?
I, okay, so I had this rule for the longest that I wouldn't date people like in my work community, which is a lot of people are like, that's how you also meet people. But I was also just so focused on not on just creating good relationships and business relationships and friendships that I don't know, because I'm already have such a, I work in my with my mom, I work with my family, and I've always done that in and out of my life. And that dating someone within the same field seems almost like I was trying to avoid that like the plague. But I feel like now I'm more open to it. But recently, my roommate and I, she was like, Amira, we need to do some double dates, like download this dating app. And I downloaded a dating app and I went on an date, and this guy was super nice. We had he's like a firefighter. We had great conversation. I was in Vegas last week and he was like we were calling, and anytime that I was walking alone, he made sure that he stayed on the phone with me because Vegas is crazy. Um and that was great. But then we went and had dinner, and he just could not stop talking about himself and about his work. And even when, actually, I didn't even tell you this part too. He was like, there's only ever been like one incident that he had cried about at work because he's seen a lot of trauma being in firefighting. And hopefully he's never listening to this episode. But he was like that he saw a a 2-year old drowned in a bathtub. And I was like, oh my God, I completely like I understand that, like being on the side of the loss. Like my brother, her son, drowned when he was young. And I was like, I can't, the trauma of that, of just it's a horrible accident. And then he just like moved on, and he was like, yeah. And then there's been some, like, I just see so many things, it's crazy, and like moved on. And I was just, my brain for a second, I was like,
Did you
you
tell him? that was
N-
personal?
no.
You were triggered by that? You just shut down?
I did, well, I like, because then he tried to like go on more. He was like, yeah, and then and like talk more about the situation. I was like, I'm sorry, I don't want like I was like, give me like move on to something a little else. Like I know that's traumatic and it's traumatic for me too. Like I would rather like not talk about that right now as a dinner conversation on a first date. But the fact that he didn't really like I was acknowledging his pain and then he didn't really acknowledge it back, already not asking really any questions to me, just more like talking about his job. I was following up on questions on his job, on his family, not really asking me any questions, was a complete flip from the conversation of like being on the phone or texting to that in person, and especially over that.
That's such a traumatic topic, especially for you.
I know, and
Yes. I think one of the
that
things
was
is,
interesting.
yeah, I think we can both refer back to, and we'll put links below to some conversations I have had with dating experts, such as Bella Gandhi,
Mm.
the Smart Dating Academy, from the Smart Dating Academy. It's excellent, talks about conversations to have, conversations not to have, and also red flags to look for in
I should
dating and
have listened to
relationships.
that before I went on this
You
date.
should, and you got to listen again. And other conversation with Nancy Hala on her dating experience in her 50s too. So I think that those are really good conversations to have and kind of understand ahead of time. But looking back on that instance, well, anyway, is this someone you want to go out with again?
No.
Yeah.
I think it kind of ended after after that for me, especially. I even was like, maybe he's nervous. I had messaged him saying, um, that, I just felt like the conversation just really he wasn't really like engaging back. And he just said that he's sorry, he's just a yapper. He just gets into the flow of a conversation but didn't really acknowledge anything else. And I think that's like a big red flag for me.
Yeah.
And I know one of the questions that I have for us too is like, what are like the biggest green flags and red flags from dating now versus like also for you back then too?
Yeah, when I was dating in my 20s or 30
Yeah,
comparatively,
yeah,
well,
exactly.
there then, right, we didn't have apps, right? We met people through interactions, through
Mm-hmm.
friendships, etc. And I reflect a lot like on our family back home in the Middle East, and that, it is people are brought together through family connections.
Yeah.
And like literally, I'm the first person to divorce in my family
Yeah,
lineage on my
yeah.
maternal side. And what I always remember my mom saying and my aunt saying is that love grows. Love
Mm-hmm.
grows when you have a good, strong foundation. Good,
Mm-hmm.
strong foundation is that also like families support each other. You're like-minded with views and beliefs and practices, that you enjoy the company of each other's families as well. And I think that's an important piece. And so, and knowing, right, their friends, their family.
Mm-hmm.
And that helps when you're on a dating app. It's like, okay, you're starting from your literal ground zero.
Yeah.
You're starting from a clean slate, essentially, and you've got to do the investigation work without it being an investigation, right? But supposedly we're not supposed to investigate, or it shouldn't be an interview. A first date shouldn't be an interview,
Mm-mm.
but you want to get to know qualities of another individual. And so
Mm-hmm.
Bella Gandhi says red flags are and especially looking out for the narcissist type personality where they start love bombing right away. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh, you could be the one. I mean, there's so much here that we're so connected and blah, blah, blah. So there is that. Other red flags are, and you guys, we obviously are not the dating experts coming to you, but we will refer you to them.
No, this is just a
And
fun episode right now.
yeah. And but other red flags are certainly being critical about other people, not treating other people well, being critical. All they can talk about is their past relationship or ex spouse. That's red flags right there and to consider. But I think mostly it's how they treat others, how they treat the people you're around, how they talk about it. And also when it comes to their profile, looking at the profile, what are they talking negatively? Don't do this. Or if you're such and such,
Mm-hmm.
swipe left, swipe right, or whatever it is, maybe. And so when you see that criticism coming up, there's reason to believe that at some point they'll be critical of you too. So you want to recognize those as red flags early on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I know some red flags, because when my roommate and I were like before we made our profile, we also investigated what are some red flags to avoid on your own profile as well as other people's profile. And one thing, and one thing that uh I noticed for like in my generation is that apparently, so health and fitness is a very important thing, but when some people are like gym rats and they only post, they're like, I'm at the gym, I want someone who's at the gym with me, like that is apparently identified as a really big red flag.
Unless you're also that type of person.
I know, true. So if you are, then that's also great, but it's like you want to know more about the person versus,
The physical appearance
yeah,
is a
physical
priority.
appearance or just like knowing about the gym. Okay, you go to the gym, that's great. Now, like, what do you like to do? What are your interests? What are your hobbies?
But I will tell you, dating, at my age now, in my 50s, is that I want to know that someone's going to the
Yeah,
gym. I
there's
definitely
that
want to know
too.
someone's taking good care of their physical body and is interested in health and nutrition and fitness and is open-minded and in general healthy. I don't want to become my date's doctor. That's for sure.
Oh my gosh, I
And
know.
the reality sometimes.
I know. And you also have you also have that struggle too of being, a powerful woman, an entrepreneurial, a physician, a triple board certified OB-GYN. You are the breadwinner of your house, and you were even in when you were married. And I remember when I was younger, when you started, that was like one of your first biggest relationships, if you're comfortable me mentioning this.
Uh-oh.
Um,
What was that?
you know what it was, but that you even had there was like this one partner that did not like that. Like he was very religious, but his part of his religion was that he needed to be the breadwinner. He needed to be the dominant man, and he was not that person. Like, and
Well, there's a lot more to it than that, that's
yeah.
for sure. But I think one of the things that I recognize too is being in this position, CEO of my company, head of the household for now over a decade. It is that concept, okay, there's so much that I lived in my masculine. Now integrating the feminine really
Mm-hmm.
becomes a priority. There is that yin and yang.
Mm-hmm.
There is that positive female and positive masculine energy within each of us. And
Mm-hmm.
so being able to integrate that and to receive and to be able to um, show both aspects of that self and authenticity is really important. For myself, one of the challenges has been stepping more into my feminine,
Yeah.
letting go of, constantly being the leader, allowing myself to receive and welcome um, acts of service even.
Mm-hmm.
So those are some good considerations.
So, mom, what would your so currently I'm on Hinge. What would your Hinge profile look
I need to
like?
review your Hinge profile. That's first and foremost. My Hinge profile in the 90s. Let's see. Oh my goodness. I was in medical school when I met your dad. I was rotating, but what would my Hinge profile have looked like? Um, oh, I can't even think right now. Uh, yeah, works a lot, on call a lot, very little free time. Um,
That
yeah,
would
no,
get you a lot of swipes.
yeah, yeah, and I think we look back then, I think we can all look at that. Like, I want to look at myself in my 70s and look back at myself now in my 50s and say, gosh, you're doing so much great, right? What grace and capacity you had, and to have more fun, I would say to my younger self. And I would say that to my 20 or 30-year-old self even. Have more fun. Are you having more fun? What are things you enjoy doing and enjoying uh, you doing with people? And how are you playing more? So I would look at that and then just, gosh, you were gorgeous. Why were you so self-conscious and unsure of yourself, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big one. Um,
Okay, let's get real. What is the funniest or worst dating advice I've given you?
do you want me to share it?
Uh, only if it's clean.
It's not clean. Okay, so the advice, I feel like we mainly just have conversations after the fact, and then you definitely recommend me to get off dating apps.
And
Anytime,
to get out and meet people.
yeah, but also, and anytime that I have even started to date, you were like, Amira, no, like you don't need a date right now. Like, oh my God, I need to meet people. I'm 25 years old and I work from home sometimes. And
Like, go out with friends, meet
I,
people in groups.
yes, I
Is that
do.
old fashioned?
No, I do go out with friends and I meet people in groups. And even when I do go out on dates, you're like, no, don't go on dates.
Huh, maybe I've seen who you're going out on a date with, and maybe that's why.
Also, the one that I've grown up with is anytime she's also made me more scared to even talk to someone because she's like, Amira, you have to be careful. Anytime you meet someone, you have to be cautious. You're gonna be swapping millions of microbiomes with them if you kiss them.
Make sure they're healthy.
She'll always bring it down to the science, and that is something that I am always cautious about.
Well, and I think there's reality to that piece too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oxytocin production will connect you to someone. So when you're intimate with someone, okay, there's the biochemistry. You are, even in our saliva, there's millions of bacteria. So you're swapping some microbiome there. We're just talking saliva, not to mention other bodily fluids, but there's millions of bacteria there. Okay, I don't want to scare you. I want you to have the healthiest, most loving relationship because you're an
Mm-hmm.
incredible, incredible woman. And the second aspect is with intimacy, you increase oxytocin. And so you can um, feel that emotional bond to someone you're very mismatched to. So taking your time, being very cautious. I mean, I think I give those advice, but also to have fun, enjoy someone, know that you are, on the same page about things and have good conversations. I like what Lisa Nichols says, motivational coach and expert and motivational speaker. She was in The Secret. And she said, when she decided, and she was in her 40s or 50s, that she was going to start dating again, she said, I'm just going to practice dating. I'm just going to consider it. I am practicing dating right now. And like, how am I on a date? What do I like? What don't I like? And to get to know myself through dating. And I love that advice. And she's like, I'm practicing dating and kind of take some pressure off too. Hmm. And if you have children around Amira's age or in the dating, and even my 16-year-old who has started dating, and I think about I think about these things. It is different than when I was growing up and I was in my 20s and looking at how dating relationships are and thinking of that this generation can have a really tough time because you're not meeting in person often the first time. It starts with conversations online, and you're not sure the background of that individual, or there can be so many. We certainly have heard excellent, beautiful stories, love stories of people meeting online, dating, getting married, and having great relationships, and some pretty poor stories, including stalking and other issues. You worry about this. And as a mother, I worry about that for my daughter as well, and for all of them, and thinking, okay, well, if you can just focus on the most important things that you like doing in your life and do more of that. So if it's you're reading what's the series, the Onyx Storm right now.
The Empyrean series by Rebecca Yarros. Oh my gosh. Oh, don't even get me started when, okay, this was one question that was like, um, what is what's like a habit that your mom picked up, or what's a habit that your mom has that you rotate off of one another? And whenever I give her a book, okay, she reads super fast, she's a physician, she had to read super fast, okay, I get it, whatever. And but every time we'll start a book, she will take it from me and finish it in a day. And then um I got you on the Onyx Storm, well, the Fourth Wing, and then it was Iron Flame, and then Onyx Storm just came out, and you were hooked, and then you listened to the whole audiobook series of ACOTAR, if anyone knows that series,
I
by
read
Sarah J.
the
Maas,
books, yeah.
and you ordered like 12 different books and you just get
Consume them.
consumed, and of course you have to excel and beat me and
No,
finish.
it's not about beating you. I like, okay, I have this amount of time. I'm gonna get as much done as possible. And I
Yeah.
definitely get drawn in. So
Mm-hmm. And you do.
it does,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
broadens my horizon. Fantasy world. So
yeah.
good. What is the ACOTAR series?
Mm-hmm. A Court
A
of
Court of
Thorns and
Thorns and
Roses.
Roses. So good.
That is pretty
So
good.
good.
I know. Sarah J.
Now
Maas is
I'm reading The Womb Awakening,
Mm-hmm.
which is an excellent book by Sarah and Bertrand. And it talks about, really the womb awakening, womb being our uterus, ovaries. It's the feminine awakening. And it's quite another, I've been sucked into this book too. So yeah,
Mm.
excellent books. Guys, if you've got some good series, good books that you recommend, please message us. Please comment and let me know. So
Yeah.
I read a lot. I go in cycles. Sometimes I will go into binge reading, and otherwise I won't read for a while.
Yeah.
And it's all medical literature, medical text, and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll go into the fantasy world. So
I know you have to rotate it. I know, because yeah, when I was in school, it's like you're only reading your school textbooks versus, or like educational, and then when you get into a fantasy or in a good book, or then that like takes you into a whole other world, and you're finally able to like release, and it feels what is it?
It's a meditation. It can
Yeah.
be a meditation. So some good books on dating is Diane Kirshner's book. Is it Diane or Diana? Diana Kirshner, Dr. Diana Kirshner wrote Love in 90 Days. That's an excellent book. Ariel Ford wrote Wabi Sabi Love, another great book. And Horace Gary Chapman's The Five Love Languages. And that's a great podcast on my show to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent podcast. And so those are some great dating advice books. Have you read any of those?
I read The Five Love Languages, but I haven't. I should probably actually read more of those before getting into my dating that I'm doing now. But it is,
Well, what do you like about dating, man? Like,
yeah.
what are you worried about?
Um,
What, yeah.
I know. So I was like blaming you earlier about me saying for not dating, but also it's myself too, because it is scary, like dating, as like in it was just 2024. So in like the 20th century, when we are
21st century.
21st, sorry guys, sick brain, okay? Um of this also, of like the age of dating apps, of you're dating someone and they just, if they don't like something immediately, they can just swipe away. I mean, it goes both ways.
Or ghost you or whatever, yeah.
Ghost you, or just
Not be
completely.
who they say they are.
I've definitely had some weird incidents in that, where people are like, oh, I'm in the hospital, I'm dying, can't talk to you, and they're act like they're definitely not. I mean, hopefully they weren't, but we had my spies, okay? But anyways, it's
I think
definitely,
there's so many challenges,
there's
right?
a lot of
The
challenge,
virtual.
even with like it's crazy to see because all like we're a household of women and us all going through our dating experiences. Brittany living on an island in Maui, dating, and then we live in a city and it's still and the pool is bigger, but still there's challenges because you have your values and your ethics and your
Standards.
standards and your drive and being like growing up with you as like my mom and being a successful woman and driven and it's you I also that pushes me to be driven and knowing that I want more from my partner that I would want for myself and also like our dad, he was very supportive of you and helped out within the company. And I had that swapped home. I grew up in like a different role, like role reversed home. So swap what I was saying earlier. Um, where you worked, you were the breadwinner, and then my dad was he was taking us to soccer camp. He would our teach like he picked us up from school, made dinner at night, and he was like the home what is it? The home giver, home care home
Stay-at-home dad, but he
stay
wasn't saying he worked
he
too.
wasn't, yeah.
Yeah,
He was in construction and also was the accountant for your company and at the clinic and did a lot of great things too, but that's always something that I've experienced was kind of like the more supportive and loving father and then also the supportive and loving but hardworking mother. And my dad was also hardworking. He was an entrepreneur. He did a lot of other things. So it was just all around that experience and knowing that that was like something that I expected from someone else that wanted to be a part of wanted to date me or be a part of my life they had to also be super driven and be hardworking and being able to come into this also very mixed cultural family that we have and being able to understand that. So there was just a lot that I had like standards and expectations for my person coming in and I've dated like had two long relationships and now watching Ava, the youngest, dating and coming of age is so crazy because also that's a whole other world that she's in.
with
And
social media and
with
everything else.
social media, and I remember like she's a beautiful young woman on TikTok and she was freaking out with the potential TikTok ban and then she has and I remember when I was like 14 or 16, I looked like Oompa Loompa and like gave away all my hair to Locks of Love and had I was not a cute kid. Like, yeah, I was cute,
Always cute.
but I'm but it's crazy to see and um but just
Right,
the
the
constant
virtual
change.
attention, right?
Yeah.
Virtual attention issues. I think one thing too, in learning relationship and also the, home dynamics and the example. I mean, you were what, 11 when we divorced, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's challenges there. So I think it's also coming into yourself I'm almost like coming into myself authentically, as we're healing from mother wounds, father wounds, whether we perceive them or not, generational wounds or patterns, part of our epigenetics, and the reality of that, right? The reality of our genetic encoding or the mitochondria that's been passed down and how you heal from that. I mean, it's a process, and it's so important to look at, okay, well, what's triggering us in this relationship, or what's triggering you in this relationship, what's triggering you in this topic, and 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 moving through those barriers and boundaries into your, being able to have high standards for yourself and authenticity, be able to communicate instead of holding back and keeping quiet when things aren't going well. I know that's something that I did. It was like repress it, repress it, repress it until, it was
Mm-hmm.
a ticking time bomb. So
Yeah.
So like in healing from that, and like I'm sure I've wounded you as a mom in many ways, but it's like healing from those, from that situation, but also empowering you with the strength. So we
Mhm.
have an option. We look on the negative or we look to the positive. We find the positives in our lives, the positives in our relationships, the positives in the ability to communicate what we're authentically feeling. Um, as well with those we care about and those we need to communicate
Yeah.
significant issues with. So being able to be, and that's bravery.
Yeah.
That's bravery, that's boldness, that's a
Yeah.
deep knowing of who you are, discovering of who you are in the
Mhm.
process.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I know you have shown a lot of bravery throughout your whole life, and being able to show us that too is like, definitely don't take anything for granted, and to not let anyone treat you less than what you are or what you have gone through. Yeah, anyways.
Okay, we set a fun episode, so let's go to
Okay, I
rapid
know.
fire dating
I know.
questions. We got real serious here. And I think it's, understanding family dynamics and how that plays a role in your relationships. I had to look to, my mother and father's relationships, the flaws and the blessings within that relationship. They were married 36 years. They had a tough time period too, a tough beat in their marriage, and yet they became best friends and loved each other. I mean, my dad passed away loving my mom, even though she had passed away many years earlier. And I love that example. And I think of looking at, and there's no ideal family, first of all. So creating that concepts for yourself or looking for good relationships and how they work, how they function, and not be afraid to ask and get those good role models that stand around you. I know many, for example, church groups will have community groups and support for married couples too, and that can be so helpful. And sometimes, that it comes down to key principles, and even one of them being commitment. And then how do you work through that? So
Okay, so we're gonna start to close up our episode. I hope you enjoyed this. It was kind of, we had a fun flow, but then we're gonna always bounce around in multiple different ways. But we had ChatGPT, okay, come in and create us some rapid fire questions. So these are some rapid fire dating questions that I'm gonna ask my mom. And we're gonna go into here and then we're gonna close it
okay,
out. Okay. All right, what? Okay, worst first date idea. Mini golf or escape room?
mini golf.
Okay. Um,
What
who sh
about for you?
oh, escape room for
I
me.
love
And then
escape rooms.
I know, I'm like, wait, because then I can also show them like being clever and finding clues. So maybe I mean, okay, that was not rapid, but okay, mini golf. Who should text first after a date, the guy or the girl?
The
Okay.
guy. Okay, would you rather date someone who talks too much or not at all?
Oh, I just went on a date with someone who talks a lot, but I would rather them talk a lot, I guess,
Then
than,
not at all?
yeah, than not at all.
All right. Oh, your turn.
Oh, most attractive quality in a partner, confidence or kindness?
Kindness.
Yeah, I have to agree there.
What's worse, being ghosted or being sent a breakup text?
Ooh, being ghosted,
Yeah, I agree.
worse.
All right.
Yeah, one word reaction to dating apps, exciting or exhausting?
Exhausting. Exhausting.
I'm finding a little
I'm
bit of
trying to
excitement.
find excitement, but yeah,
I,
I'm, yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not on any apps right now, but I remember like
No.
it was lovely. I mean, to meet people, to um, you know, uh, do something with someone new and
Mm-hmm.
to, get out of my comfort zone a little bit. I mean, it was exciting.
I
So,
know. We talked a
but it
lot
can be
about,
exhausting too. So you really have to have that quick ability to identify those red flags and everything.
yeah, I know we talked a lot about my dating app experiences, and we should have dove in more to yours because I know you had experienced them, and now, but you also went on a date recently.
Mhm,
Are we gonna dive into that?
mhm.
No? Okay, 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 guys. Um,
No, but it was lovely. Thank
all
you.
right, most important first date topic, career, hobbies, or family?
Hobbies.
Yeah, I agree. What's
Because
more?
that will also give you an idea about how the family's involved too.
Mhm.
Because I think for me, strong family relationships is key versus, someone who's isolated from everyone in their family, red flag
Yeah,
for the most part.
yeah, exactly. What's more awkward, meeting the parents too soon or way too late?
That has to go to you. Most of the people I date, their parents are dead.
Oh my God.
All
I
right.
can't. I would say both. I feel like there is an appropriate time for it. There's definitely, I've been in a situation where it was too early. And I mean, if you already know them, that's something different than your friends. And there's also too late within like some cultural aspects. And I don't know. Okay, if you could bring back one old school dating tradition, what would it be?
Oh my gosh.
Ooh,
Like the first thing that popped to my mind was like, um, was the having soda pop and ice cream at Friendlies. Like that
what?
was
Okay.
fun. That was like super fun. So is that like a dating tradition? I mean, it was just like a date space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine would be, coming up to the door
Oh yeah, that's
and
good.
like greeting you because it's so
But you don't
awkward.
want to give someone you just met online your address. So you have to be
That
so precautious.
that is very true too, but also like opening the door for someone and because sometimes even like I had to the date that I just went on, I was like, "Get out of your car and greet me." And
He
that's
didn't.
no, I feel like I definitely probably said it before he could do it himself, but knowing
And
that
you
he
said
was
it.
but knowing that I was downstairs, like I was coming downstairs and he wasn't even out of the car is something that I don't like too. It's because it's awkward. I'm not just going to get in your car, like, let me greet you and let me meet you before I get into a car with you.
What is harder, finding love in 1995 or 2024? I'm going to say 2024.
Yeah, we're in 2025 now, but
Mhm.
yes, 100%.
Ooh, would you rather date someone who has 10 cats or no pets at all?
Oh my God. Neither? I mean, no pet, if it's one or the other,
No
neither.
pets at all. I'm like, no pets at
I'm
all.
allergic as that is on one of my dating apps
Yeah.
is that I'm allergic to cats.
There you go.
I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm allergic to cats. I can't do it. What is
Oh, wait, if you're still at home with your mom and a cat.
yeah, that's big. Okay. Who's more romantic? You.
Me. Do you think you're more romantic?
I don't know. I think we're both
We're
pretty
both
romantic.
romantic. Okay. If someone likes you, should they call or text?
Mm, I still say call.
Yeah,
Oh,
like I would have said call, but I mean, definitely both. I mean, call and text or text, hey, I'm going to call you. I think because texting has just been consuming, that's often the way that we
mm-hmm,
start with conversations, conduct business. I mean, there's a lot going on with text, but you definitely hearing a voice. And before I would go out with someone, typically, I would do a video call, like a
mm-hmm.
WhatsApp call or
FaceTime.
FaceTime or through the app or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And just because you gotta know what you're facing versus meeting blind, for instance, unless
Yes,
you have a good idea or referred to someone in that situation. So,
absolutely. I know you'd be proud of me. So when I agreed to go on, we were talking about going on a date on Friday. Immediately in that moment, I was like, FaceTime me. And we FaceTimed and we talked and actually like fell asleep on the phone. And
oh my gosh, Amira.
it was
Okay.
a really long conversation, but it was super good. But then it turned out that it was not a good in-person date. So it's crazy how that happens. All right. Anyways, what's more important, physical chemistry or emotional connection?
Well, I would say a high EQ, emotional quotient. So emotional connection
Ooh.
for sure, but physical chemistry has got to be there, but emotional connection is, is critical for the long haul, especially where I'm at in life. So what about
Mhm.
for you?
I say it's definitely emotional and physical is definitely a benefit because physics, like that can change. Like the physical, of course, there's some aspects that can't, but that I don't know, emotion is the most important thing. You have to be funny and kind and generous and confident and all the things and attentive and actually want to know how someone's day is. Oh my God, do you want to review my Hinge profile?
Yeah, I do definitely want to review your Hinge profile at some point. So we'll definitely
Okay,
do
we'll
that.
do that later.
So
Okay, yeah.
today we've talked about, we've talked about the 21st century, 2020s, and dating from the generation of me, born in the 1960s, compared to Amira, born in 1990, late 1990s, and how that has changed. And then just dynamics. You can see some mother-daughter dynamics in our household. We're 4 women, right? I have 4 daughters, so 5 women, and it's that can, there's a lot of strong female energy here, and I know
Mm-hmm.
you're listening and you're powerful, and being in
Mm-hmm.
that space is integrating the feminine and the masculine. It's like this concept of quality of relationships, right? The quality of relationships, who you're spending your time with. And it's just been a fun episode to wrap the after Valentine's Day dating
Yeah.
topics with. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. We
know.
love your questions to come in on any topics whatsoever. So if you have any comments, questions, you want your questions answered on the Girlfriend Doctor Show, topics of interest, please email them in or message them in. Amira, how do they submit their comments and questions now?
We will have a typed form,
We have
and
a type form. Where is it?
it will be in the show notes. So look in the show notes to submit your questions for the podcast. Of course, if you would like to comment on the podcast wherever you're listening, we look there as well, but look for this Google form so you can submit your questions, and easy to see.
Thank you guys for being here on the Girlfriend Doctor Show.
Thank you, and I hope you were okay with me taking Dr. Anna away from her
Usual health and medicine
yeah.
topics, right? To put me on the spot. All right.
I know. I'm sorry.
Thank y'all.
Thank
Okay,
you.
but I think one thing is it is important within the family to kind of have these relationships, and
Yeah.
also your perception of things, how you perceive things.
Mm-hmm.
And for me to understand that too.
Yeah.
All right, be safe in your
I
dating.
hope you're having fun
And have fun.
conversations with your kids and your parents as well.
All
Okay.
right, y'all. Till next time. Check out
Bye.
that form, submit your comments and questions. Cheers.
Thanks for watching another episode of the Girlfriend Doctor podcast. Check out all the links below for more.